Hi dear friends, welcome back for our English classes, chapter number 10, the sermon at Benares. We saw what the sermon is. We saw who the characters are, and now we will see the overview of the chapter. We discussed in our last class what and who gave the sermon at Benares. Now let us see what is exactly the chapter telling us. Buddha as a prince. So you must have definitely read the chapter, dear friends. I believe and trust in you. Okay. Overview of the chapter. Buddha as a prince. So the chapter has been divided into sub-points just for our understanding. Gautam Buddha was born as a prince named Siddhartha Gautama in North India at 12, which means his age is mentioned. He was sent for schooling in Hindu sacred scriptures. Now, when you understand the word schooling is not of day to day what we have, or in the present era what the schools we have. It was always under a teacher. It was like a monastery. It was like a seminary system where you need to go for a particular time and get yourself enlightened. Yes, he was sent for schooling in Hindu sacred scriptures. 4 years later, he returned home and got married to a princess. As the life was, they had a son. They lived a royal life for 10 years. Now, if you, dear friends, for our additional knowledge, if you go back, there were serials of Gautam Buddhas. There were series, and there are some of the preachings of Gautam Buddha. He lives wherever his friend, and he asks some of the questions. What happens is like, at the same time, he is shown there a prince, a king going about, and that's where he notices his people's sufferings. Gautam Buddha, the second point, Gautam is enlightened from the sufferings of the world. One simple turning point of your life can change into a big decisions. Yes, dear friends. Your one single turning point of life can change your decision. That is what has happened into the life of great Buddha. Buddha, or he, was protected from the sufferings of the world. As we know, dear friends, he was a prince, he was king, and therefore he was not in touch with of the vices of the world. He remained away from the dirt, so-called the dirt of the world. He was protected. One day, he saw a sick man, an old man, and a funeral procession. Now, beautifully, I as a small child have watched that particular serial. I just don't remember, dear friends, the name of, but I have watched that. And when he was in his cart, in his horse cart, when moving, he asked, "What is this?" Because he was never aware of suffering. He was never aware of old age. He was never aware of the death. And all these three things, when he notices one after the other, he feels that life, or the second side of or the other side of the coin, is something this. And that is how, dear friends, he gets to change his way of going about. Earlier, he was not able to know because he was kept away. Procession and a monk begging for money and food. Now you see, a monk begging for money and food. He had lived a luxurious life, a royal life, everything at his exposure, and he could get anything that he wanted. This moved Buddha, and he then went out to seek enlightenment. Dear friends, as I said, the turning point of life that really can change your way of going about. Gautama seeks enlightenment and becomes Gautam Buddha. So Siddharth Gautama was his name. Buddha, perhaps Buddhishari, perhaps a lot of enlightenment. That is how his name was derived from. He traveled aimlessly for 7 years. Imagine, dear friends, being a prince, being a king next. He left his worldly pleasure. He traveled aimlessly for 7 years, and then he stayed under a peepal tree until he attained enlightenment. In concentration, meditation, contemplation, after 7 days, he got enlightened and renamed the trees as Bodhi tree. So Bodhi Dharman, Bodhi tree, tree of wisdom. There he began to teach and share his knowledge and became known as Buddha. So after wandering for years together, he comes and sits under a peepal tree for 7 days, perhaps continuation or a continued meditation, contemplation, and that led him to enlightenment. He understood, perhaps he had got deep down from within a chance that he really got the enlightenment. And now that is what he turned into from Siddhartha to Gautama Buddha. Buddha gives his first sermon. So after getting enlightenment, dear friends, he gives his sermon. We know what the sermon is. A preaching that preaches, a talk that talks about good values, spiritual and religious values. Buddha preached his first sermon at the city of Benares. It is the holiest of the dipping places of river Ganges. This sermon reflects Buddha's wisdom about the kind of suffering that is impossible to interpret. Now you see. Dear friends, here I would like to interrupt and I would like to tell you one thing. The cozy bed, the bed of roses, the comfort zone, all these things will not teach you the importance of life. But as Buddha witnessed the sufferings of life, and that is how he came to such as enlightenment. Yes, dear friends. Now we will understand what is the story of Kisa Gautami. Kisa Gautami had only one son. She carried her dead son in her arms and she went door to door asking for the medicine for her dead child. As we already know, talked in a previous lecture, that any mother, caring and loving mother, would definitely go after looking for medicines from door to door because she wants to have her son back. The neighbors pitied her but could not help her as her son was dead. Now, even today, dear friends, the science, the religion has never given anyone's life back. It is a belief. It is a belief that we come to a new life. But we come to a new life either in a moksha, according to the Hindu philosophy, or we come to the new life in nirvana. We come to the seventh heaven. Perhaps it is the kingdom of God. But at the same time, when anyone on earth who has come to life, we do not know. Okay. They were as helpless as Kisa and could not go against the will of God. Going or taking nature and getting against it, it's a difficult thing, dear friends. Finally, somebody suggested that she should go to Sakyamuni. What is Sakyamuni? The Buddha. Okay. Kisa Gautami went to meet Gautama Buddha. He has also, people must have given him name as Sakyamuni. So Muni is a guru, a sage. That is how she comes there. Kisa Gautami went to meet Gautama Buddha. Gautama told her to bring a handful of mustard seeds from a house where death has never knocked at the door. Now, do you understand this very sequence, dear friends? Mustard seeds can be available in each house. It's a very, very easily, thing, very, very minimum thing that you can get from any house. But what was the condition? She should get a handful of mustard seeds from the house where death has not taken place, which means where no one has died so far. Looks funny at times, makes us think that can there be any house? Perhaps you have lost your grandparents and the great grandparents, or your husband, or your wife, or your children at times. Now what happens? She went on knocking door to door, got nothing. Gautama told her to bring a handful of mustard seeds from the house where death has never knocked at the door. Kisa thought that it was a very easy task. She went to all the houses in the village but could not find a single house where death had not taken a beloved away. So, did you understand, dear friends? Yes. So, partly you must have understood what Gautama would want her to understand. She sat down, hopeless and tired. She soon realized that she was being very selfish in her grief. Perhaps from the love's point of view, motherly care and concern and love's point of view, she is right that she wants to get her son back. But it is impossible to get her son back. Death is common to all. We are mortal beings, and therefore we need to know what, and we need to have death in our life. And death is inevitable, which means we cannot avoid that. Buddha's reply to Kisa. Okay. The life of morals is troubled, brief and combined with pain. You see, all your moral values and all the faithfulness, all the spiritualistic approach, all the religious learning that you have learned, everything, my dear friends, at times they go away when you suffer, when you feel upset. When you are really sad, you see, no thing will be able to comfort you. It is not possible to avoid death, as the ripe fruits are in danger of falling, as the earthen vessels made by the potter break. Similarly, the mortals have the danger of death. Now that is what a learning is. Wise men and fools all fall in the power of death. Only the wise do not grieve. Why they do not grieve? Because they know that death is an inevitable force of the universe, which we cannot avoid. We need to face death one day, and they accept the reality. So if you are wise enough, Kisa did like a fool, but Gautama Buddha made her wise by giving the example of getting mustard seeds. Yes, dear friends. So therefore she understood. Now she is slowly able to accept the reality of the cosmos, the universe, cosmology. All weeping and grieving will bring more pain and suffering to the body. You see, when you lost someone, if you happen to grieve and just keep on crying, you will feel upset more, and at the same time, dear friends, you are having problems. Yes. One who is composed will obtain peace of mind. Who is composed, which means who has a sort of balanced, both of knowing the truth and accepting the reality, the truth, will obtain peace of mind and will be free from sorrow and be blessed. So, dear friends, Buddha is teaching us, giving us sermon from Benares, perhaps his first sermon. It is not in the way that we should accept the death, but perhaps this sermon at Benares is teaching us to be strong. How can we have sufferings, death, or some of the inevitable forces of the cosmology, the universe, and we but need to accept them. So, dear friends, it's a wonderful religious and I think spiritual story, and also giving the social aspect of mother and son relationship. I would like you to read. Now, you will have the post reading of this chapter, and you will definitely understand what the chapter and great Buddha is trying to teach us. Okay, so dear friends, once again I remind you, you are supposed to read the chapters. For notes I shall be giving you, and after that I'll be asking you to write down the questions. I'll send you the list of the questions. Only then you have to write the question and answers. Thank you very much.